Hello, in today's lesson we will be talking about classifying solids. And the first thing to know about solids is how they are defined. In mathematics, we have a specific definition for solids. Solids are any three-dimensional objects. And you may have heard that in science, a solid is a state of matter, like liquid, gas, and solids are the three states of matter. But in math, a water droplet can actually be considered a solid because it has three dimensions. So our objective for today is I will classify and define solids by using the Freyer model. Now the keywords on our objective are classify, define, and solids. Now, the Freyer model is a graphic organizer that is going to help us understand these classifications a little bit better. But before we dive into the lesson, there is background knowledge that we need to have. We need to know what polygons are. In the past, you have identified polygons, we know their names, and we know how they are classified as well. We have quadrilaterals, parallelograms, we have different kinds of polygons, and we have identified, we have classified them, we have defined them, and knowledge of polygons is going to be very, very useful to us in these lessons because solids are actually made up of polygons most of the time. For example, your desk can be a square or a rectangle, which is what we normally name them, which are polygons. But today we're going to be using this knowledge of polygons to identify the solids that we see in the real world. And to refresh your memory on polygons, we will be taking a 3-question quiz on the definitions of polygon. So this quiz is going to be on Google Forms. The 3 questions are there, and please make sure to read the definitions carefully. If you think you know the definition of polygon, but you don't identify it in the definitions, then you may click Other and add the definition that you are familiar with. So in the last question, you need to select examples of polygon. Please make sure to submit your answer so that we may see the results and check if we need to spend a little bit more time on polygons. So now that you have completed your quiz and seen that we are ready to go and get started, everyone remembers what polygons are, this is the outline of our class. The first thing we need to do is define a polyhedron. And within polyhedron, we're going to find other vocab words that are very important, like edge, vertex, and face. After that, we will move on to identifying the type of solids. We will have polyhedra and non-polyhedra. So now that we have learned what polyhedron is, we can see the types of polyhedra that are there and the non-polyhedra. After that, we will learn to classify solids, specifically polyhedra. We're going to define prism and we're going to define pyramid. And these might be words that you have heard before, but today we're going to formally define them in the mathematical setting. And after we have learned all of this, we have defined polyhedron, identified types, classifications, we are going to create. Our assignment will be to create examples of prism, pyramid, 2 examples of polyhedra, and 5 non-examples of each. If you think the assignment is confusing or you're feeling overwhelmed by the information we'll be covering, that's okay because you're not expected to know any of these yet. We are going to be learning it along today together. So now we can move on to the first item in our outline, which is to define a polyhedron. But to do that, you will need this worksheet named Freyer Model Polyhedra, and it has been shared with you via Google Docs. So this is what the Freyer model looks like. The Freyer model gives you the term that we're going to be defining. In this case, is polyhedron. And then I will be helping you out with filling out the definition. And we're going to go over the characteristics and some examples and non-examples. So now we can get started. A polyhedron is defined as a solid that is bounded by polygons called faces that enclose a single region of space. So keywords in the definition is solid, so a three-dimensional figure, and it's bounded by polygons. Now in our definition, as we went over it, polygons are closed two-dimensional figures that are bounded by straight lines. So a square, a triangle, a trapezoid, all of those are examples of polygons because they are closed and they are bounded by straight lines. So that means that the characteristics of a polyhedron are that it is a solid and is bounded by polygons. So now that we know the definition, the characteristics, we want to know what exactly does a polyhedron look like. And the first example that I can think of, it's a Rubik's Cube. And we're going to search for a Rubik's Cube on the web. I had previously searched for one, so we're going to insert it. And there it is. That's my example of a polyhedron. And a Rubik's Cube is a solid, has three dimensions, and it is bounded by polygons because it is bounded by squares, and this square is a polygon. Now, I need to show what is a non-example of a polyhedron. And non-examples are not that hard to create because you need to find something that does not meet either one of these characteristics. So, because the circle is not a polygon, because it is not bounded by straight lines, I can think of a ball. So, we're going to insert and find an image of a ball. So there it is. That is my non-example of a polyhedron. A ball is not bounded by polygons. Circles, spheres, anything circular does not meet the requirements or the definition of a polygon or a polyhedron. So this is my example of the Freyer model, and there's obviously now this is my example of the Freyer model for the polyhedron, but there's obviously more examples and non-examples that I can add, and that will be part of your assignment. But I want to, before moving on to the next Freyer model, which is for prism, I want to add another example here. So, but instead of looking on the internet, I actually want to create it. So I'm going to go to GeoGebra, geometry, and you can find it by going here. You can just Google it or you can follow the link. And we are going to click on polygon because I want to make a pyramid. So it's telling me here that I need to select all vertices. So there it is. And I'm just going to keep making another triangle. And I'm going to make another one. And there it is. I'm going to click move so that I can move this around. And there is my pyramid. But I want to add it to my document. So I'm going to click on export image. Right click to copy to clipboard. So I'm going to right click, copy image, and paste. There it is. There's my drawing that I just made. So for your assignment, you will be required to do this. You can also use the drawing feature that Google Docs has. So you can go to Insert, Drawing, click on Scribble, and you can do your own drawings there. There's a very quick, pretty bad pyramid, but if I can understand your drawing, then that is enough. So this is my lesson for today, and have a nice day.